Ladies and gentlemen, the off season has officially begun for every single team in the NFL. Ours has been started for quite a while, but the off season is here. Now all eyes are focused on the draft. That's really what I've been talking about lately. We'll touch
That's
on it a
it.
little bit more this week too. Let's get moving. Sammy, start us up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Do the Titans have a miracle left in them in what has been a magical season to this point? Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's got
40,
something.
50.
He's got it.
40.
He's got it.
20. 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast. It's gonna be sick.
All righty, folks. We are back. Welcome back into the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. Join us with my counterpart, Jarrett. Before we get into anything, Jarrett, what do you think about that game? Or I guess you can call it a game.
The Super Bowl? Well, first, we promised listeners that we were going to be there. A lot of things happened work-wise, so it didn't work out. And approvals didn't work out, but everything happens for a reason. So sorry we did not bring you that content, but we will be back with more content and better than ever. So just throwing that out there. But first, the game, I know we're going to get into it because it's going to lead into what we possibly could do.
Yeah.
It was a battle with the fronts, dude. Offensive line and defensive line. The Eagles got after Mahomes on his 42 dropbacks with 4 linemen, with no blitzes. It's insane. So when Vinny keeps saying, and everyone keeps saying, you got to build up the fronts. It's not sexy, but you got to build up the fronts. You got to protect your quarterback. We don't have a quarterback, and we don't have a line. So which way are we going to go with this? It's starting to see a clear vision to me right now how this team is going to go, whether it's going to be a free agent veteran quarterback and then maybe get a quarterback later in the rounds and trade back, because in all eyes here, you got to go edge and you got to go hard in free agency at the offensive line with Trey Smith, because my mock draft is going to come out later this week too for 2.0. I have that all set up for our show, and you're going to see everything go how it's going to play out for us. But for the game, like I said, it's won in the trenches, and that's exactly what the Eagles did. They went after Mahomes with no pressure. Their offensive line averaged 6'6", 340. It's insane. I mean, that's how good teams win football games: protecting your quarterback and getting after quarterback. And that's what we have to start getting at with the 3 GMs now that we have in our front office, with all 3 of those guys, and just the way Borgonzi was in Kansas City. He knows how it is. He's going to try to emulate that from Kansas City, and so is Breaker from the Packers. So it's going to be a fun off season. What did you think of that smackdown of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought in a million years it was going to be that uncompetitive, and I mean, it wasn't a game. After about the first 5 minutes, it wasn't a game. So.
Yeah, sure.
They say defense win championships. They say pass rush is key, and a lot of those things, turned out to be true, at least on that game. Now, listen, I tweeted this shortly before the game ended that this game might have put Abdul Carter in Tennessee. Listen, this team needs so much more that an elite edge rusher that could be generational is not going to put this team on the map in one season when there's a million other holes, but it definitely gives you something to think about, because when you can send 4 players and basically dominate the world's greatest player, it makes you wonder, what else can an elite pass rush do in a big game? And that's something we don't have. We don't even have, honestly, I don't even think we could say we have an average pass rush. It's pretty below average. As good as Devondre Sweat was in year 1 with some run stuffing, and Jeff Simmons was definitely not a liability other than some of his horrendous penalties, we didn't have much of a pass rush. Harold Landry, I'm about over him. He never jumps off the page. He's decent. He's not. There's been a lot worse Titans than him, but he's not an elite pass rusher. He's not worth the money we gave him. Now, could he have a breakout season on the other side of Abdul Carter? Of course. I think he has one more year left on his contract, Landry, the monster one we gave him?
I believe so, yes.
So, yeah, we're going to have him on contract anyway unless we trade him. So, yeah, it could be an incredible dual threat there on each side. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we are completely lost at quarterback. We have no depth at receiver. And our tight ends are pretty one-dimensional. So, we'll have to see if this game reshaped the identity of our draft board. I personally think it did not. But everything's on the table here. It is, again, we go back to this. It's kind of unfortunate to have the number 1 pick this year because you're looking at 2 quarterbacks. The jury's obviously still out on both of them. They wouldn't even be in the top 5 of last year's class. But on the other hand, you can pick whoever you want. You got to get the choice right, and you need a quarterback. You need a lot of other things. You can trade back, but you can't miss. You can't lose. And I don't know. They're doing a great job keeping a lid on things. They're really not giving any information of where they're leaving.
Yeah, I know. Like you're seeing a lot, like Ian Rappaport saying that the Titans, they need so many more holes to fill. So the rumors are, trading back. Of course, like common sense, a Titan fan like us and everyone listening, we know we have a lot of holes. So that's not telling us that we could trade back. We could trade back. We could take a Hunter. We could take Abdul Carter. We could take the quarterback. So everything is up in the air. Like you said, they're keeping it, closed door. But theoretically now, as a Titans fan, right, we're married to the quarterback position so well. So is it really that bad to just step in, with a veteran quarterback like possibly Aaron Rodgers, possibly, Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins? I'm not saying I'm married to these names, but these are, the picks. Rodgers has a house down in Nashville. I'm not saying that he's going to be a Super Bowl winning Aaron Rodgers, but if you draft, if you bring him in and you get an Abdul Carter, or you trade down with the Giants and you go to 3, and you have a feeling because the league circles talk that 1-2 want quarterback, and the Giants and Browns are going to go quarterback, and we're still sitting with Abdul Carter, and we get a king ransom, and we could start getting picks and start moving because we don't have a third, right? And Mike Borgonzis keeps saying he wants picks to start building the future for this team. That's where I think this team is going, especially after what we saw on Sunday with the pass rush. I think they're gonna either try to trade with the Giants, stay within that tier a little bit. I don't think they're gonna drop all the way down to 10. Within that would be absolutely catastrophic for the franchise. You want to still be in that realm. If the Giants want Shedeur Sanders, I'm moving down to 3. You're giving me next year's 1. You're giving me a third. However they're gonna figure it out. But that would be the play for me if you're not in love with the quarterback. Like I said, I would much rather, if they're not in love, don't pull a Jamarcus Russell, don't pull a Ryan Leaf, don't get yourself in a situation where we are with Will Levis reaching for a quarterback. If you're not really truly in love with the quarterback, like us fans want it, we have to understand. If they're doing something better for the team and they're going to bring that guy in and they're going to maybe draft a Will Howard or draft a Kyle McCord, who knows, and let him sit under. Listen, anything is possible. That's why I'm throwing it out there, Sal. Listen, and let him sit under Aaron Rodgers for a year or something. I don't know. But I'm starting to think that team trade back to 3 maybe with the Giants could be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, that would be I think that would be the ideal situation. Trading back to 3 and still getting one of the 2 quarterbacks. Assuming that Cleveland would probably take, Travis Hunter if he was there. They could obviously shake things up and take a quarterback at 2. But, yeah, it would be great to trade with the Giants. I think the Giants are going to lean more towards Cam. So if they really wanted Cam, they would trade up to 1, and we would get 3, and then we could still get Shedeur, and who knows what they're going to give up for number 1. I don't think it'd be another first rounder to go up 2 spots, but it would be something great. It would at least be maybe another second rounder. So,
there was a lot of rumors, not to cut you off, but there was a lot of rumors, circulating all the time. Like you hear, like if the Jets wanted to come up, and you have Garrett Wilson wanting out of New York.
Sign me up.
That's what I'm saying. Is it more or less like a Carolina Panthers and Browns deal where, we get Garrett Wilson, they get the first pick. But like I said, I don't want to move that far back down.
It would need way more than that as well.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. But I'm just saying a player involved with that. But I can't see this team passing on like a Hunter or a Carter or one of these quarterbacks and move all the way out of all the way down. It's not going to happen. So it would have to be within that first
what
4.
What spots are the Jets at? They got to be
9.
They're 9.
So, and then you got the Raiders that need a quarterback, and they're at 6. So even moving down to 6 is very.
I would do it. I would do a pick
shady.
swap for Garrett Wilson straight up.
Yeah, but then you got 9, and then who are you gonna? There's down. What are you gonna go after another lineman? And everyone's saying, like, everyone was mocking my first mock, like, oh, no lineman. What the hell is this? What is this? Everyone understands that there's free agency involved, and you don't need every single piece in a draft.
How many years you have
X, and that's what I'm saying. You have X amount of draft picks, and you're playing best available, and you're playing the board. You spend the money like Trey Smith. You plug him in at right guard, and then you have one other issue you got to fix. Are you going to go after free agency, or are you going to do it in the draft at right tackle? I mean, this is the pieces that they're going to start playing.
I mean,
now.
we have 2 top 15 players in the draft on our O-line. One of them's top 10. I mean, yeah, the O-line is still leaves a lot to be desired. But you fucking use those picks on those guys. You need to develop them. You need them to get them to an elite level going into year 3 and 2. Okay. And, looks like Mr. Bill Callahan's going to be sticking around. He left a lot to be desired with what he did, how he made these guys progress because they didn't progress very much. I know Skoronski did relatively well.
No.
Latham was not up to top 10 pick. I don't care what anyone says. He was not top 10 at O-line at coming out of his first year. So can he be up to that level? Of course he can. But he let up a ton of pressures. You're a top 10 player in the world at your age group. You should be very good if you're picked O-line top 10 immediately. And he wasn't very good. He was okay. And they need to get a lot better. But, Skoronski, I know, had a pretty solid year, too.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting back now, after the season, you're only as good as your players. And some of the players like Jalen Duncans and some of the guys they brought in, maybe they're just not good football players. And what we need from Bill Callahan now is really the left side of the line to develop. And if we bring in another guy in like Trey Smith, he's already developed, but continue to be that bull on the right side. And now if we're going to draft another tackle on the right, or we're going to bring another free agent right tackle in, either way, the left side is solidified, and that's what he needs to develop. And we need to, what they keep talking about, we have to develop and keep our own players. So from Cushenberry all the way to Latham, that needs to be the direction of where this franchise focuses for development. Okay. Because I wholeheartedly believe once free agency goes, they're giving Trey Smith a check to come to Tennessee. He played at Tennessee with the Volunteers. He's going to follow Borgonzi. And I think that the only thing that we have to worry about is the right-hand side of the offensive line. So.
I still think the left hand, I mean, they got to get Latham right.
For sure, yes, absolutely.
And there's people that have said they would even consider maybe trying him right. I don't think there's going to be real any kind of steam behind that idea, but he's got to take a real big step in year 2, and I got good faith that he will, because he's just so athletic for his size that you got to assume he's going to continue to get better, and he seems to have his head in it. So we'll see how that shapes up, but trading back just seems too obvious. Something's telling me they're not, but we're going to find out in a few months.
That's definitely we're definitely going to find out about that. What did you think about this clip from Thomas Dimitrov about when he interviewed for us? And apparently, maybe, I don't know if they asked him, but that's what he said. If he was the GM, he was going to keep Will Levis as a starting quarterback for 2025.
I mean, yeah. Listen, I keep going back to this, and I'm sure those are going to be comments lighting me up. Before that Bengals game, which was the third to last game of the year, everyone and their mother was saying, okay, at least now we know we have a quarterback. We have a ton of other things that we need to fix, but he was on the back burner. And in one game, everything changed. He had a horrendous game against the Bengals. But up until that point, he had gotten better. Now, he wasn't looking like a top 10 quarterback in the league, but he was protecting the ball. He was showing some flashes, and everyone around him was just crumbling. One game changed everything. This is a business above all else. He made a big mistake in that business during that Bengal game, and now it looks like his job is pretty much done. But I've been feeling the need to possibly tweet this for a while. Don't be surprised if he potentially gets another opportunity, despite what the entire fan base believes. It's unlikely, but it's possible, especially if they say, holy shit, man, we got to get this kid Abdul Carter. All right. Justin Fields isn't leaving Pittsburgh. Rodgers going to want too much money. What's the point of getting Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr to put us in the middle of the road in the division? Let's just give this kid at least half the year.
There's another name. I understand what you're saying, but there's another name you got to watch out for. It's Matthew Stafford. I know he's still got money.
I love
to his
that
contract. He was a Brian Callahan kind of guy, so I wouldn't be opposed to that either. That's what I'm saying. Veteran quarterback. Fill your holes. Develop your players. If you want to get a veteran, if you're not in love with these guys, but I want a quarterback, and I know you do, and I know everybody else does. I want a quarterback that has an attitude, that has that grit, that says, give me the ball, like a Shedeur Sanders and a Cam Ward. I'm not saying they don't have it, but I'm saying the intangibles and everything else, the team needs to fall in love with that. And if they're not in love with it, and we know where they're going, whether it's Carter or Hunter or anywhere else, I'm okay with it, because now I want to see where this regime goes and how Brian Callahan kind of builds a team versus kind of how Mike Vrabel built a team.
Yeah.
But
I think one wild card would be a team none of us expect wanting to trade for that first pick. A team like Las Vegas.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, 6.
Dallas shocks the world, trades up.
That's way too far. Like,
has
I would
a plan
never drop.
If they had a plan in place to move Dak, I mean, if you talk about rebranding the Dallas Cowboys in a tremendous way, having Deion Sanders' kid as your quarterback would be so cool just as a football fan. But that would be one thing I would think to look for, that there might be a team that gives you an offer you can't refuse, and they're just like, yeah, we got to take this deal. We're going to take 3 first-rounders, whatever it would be, 2 first-rounders and a swap. And then you got to be content with it, because you're just getting so much more capital, and they got to figure out a situation at quarterback. But as always, time will tell. I'm sure there's things that are going to develop over the next few weeks now that the offseason has officially started. The Combine will be here, in a month?
February 27th. So we got 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. The Combine's going to be here.
We got 2 weeks.
I don't know who of our targets you're going to see. Probably, maybe just Abdul Carter. We'll probably do some, physical stuff. But it's that. I mean, once the Combine starts,
the draft now that I'm in mock draft season, the draft is very loaded with a lot of positions, and we can definitely get a lot of starters to develop. That's what I'm saying. I'm more leaning towards team trade back. But like I said, could we be like a Washington Commanders and go from worst to first? With picking a quarterback. I don't know. Does Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders really take us over the edge from 3-14 all the way to the AFC Championship game? I don't know. But was Washington's roster better than us last year? Not this past year. So 2 years ago, before they drafted Daniels.
Not much. Not much.
I mean, we have the players in place. Let's not forget, we have Cheeto, we have Snead, you got Hooker. If you're getting somebody else, our linebackers got to improve. But we got a pretty good defensive line with 2 guys, and if we add to that, that's pretty solid. And like I said, you're plugging people in, like Trey Smith at right. Then you got to worry about that right tackle if you're going to go after that. We have $65 million in free agency, so there's a lot of money in free agency. So Titan fans, I wouldn't stress too much on mock draft season just yet until free agency hits, because once free agency hits and you know where they're going in free agency and who they obtain, then you can start gauging at where they're going to go in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be here before you know it, as I keep saying it. This entire season was a blur, so I wouldn't assume anything's going to be different for the offseason. But anything you want to throw in there, Jared, before we close out for today?
I'm good, buddy. I just can't wait to unreveal my mock 2.0. So there was a lot of views and a lot of comments and everything on the first one. So just wait until this one comes out.
Yeah, I'm actually going to attempt really hard this year to get more involved with the scouting, and
you gotta become a college football fan. You gotta come over on a Saturday with the 3 TVs and hang out and just watch college football.
I gotta force myself to. I say all the time, I'm a Seton Hall basketball fan. If they still had a football team, it would be my team, but it was a disaster the last time they did, and I don't foresee them ever having another. And I try to get on the Vols bandwagon. I like their colors too. We'll see. I gotta force myself to. I'm sure a few beers and some laughs, I'll get more involved with it. But we got some time to get that set up. But we're going to wrap up again, guys, for today. As always, if you're not following us, subscribe. Please do so. Make sure you comment and thumbs up our stuff and hit that notification button. Make sure you always know when we have new stuff up on YouTube. And we usually go live after the games. So every little bit helps. And, hopefully we're going to get Vin back soon. Obviously, he has his first child. He's been helping get going. So, but he'll be back very soon, of course. We're going to be happy to have him back. And that's it. We'll keep you guys updated on Twitter about when you're going to see us live again or when our new show is going to be up. And we're going to get closer and closer to the draft. And we'll get we'll get some guests on, keep you guys content with the offseason here that we're going to roll into. So that's going to be it. Hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the week. And we'll catch you on the flip. As always, tighten up. And Sam, you can send us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.